welcome friends. Welcome back to the kitchen. I don't know what it is, but the last couple of weeks I've been going down memory lane to a trip that Julie and I took years ago to India. We spent 6 months in India riding the train from place to place, town to town, exploring, eating, and I took a lot of notes about the food we ate. I ducked into a lot of kitchens. We ate with a lot of families. We'd be invited to dinner, and we'd go into their homes, and I'd stand in the kitchen with the ladies, and I was trying to figure out Indian food, because I had the impression that Indian food was something that was incredibly difficult to make, had a lot of fiddly ingredients. You had to cook it all day or days, multiple days, in order to get the sauces to taste right. And I learned that that was not the case. And I learned that, you know, as much as there's a restaurant here in Ajax that I absolutely love for Indian food, and that's where I usually go for, you can cook it at home fairly easily, and it doesn't take too many ingredients. I think in this dish, there will be one ingredient that will not be common in most North American households. So first we're going to marinate the chicken. Today we're going to make something I'm going to call beginner biryani. Again, biryani is something that people think of with layers of rice and then sauce and meat or vegetables. Could be any meat, could be any vegetables, and then layered with more rice. A lot of homes that we visited in India made biryani using this method, and there just weren't layers. There was 2 layers. So in this jug, I have put yogurt, plain, unflavored yogurt, of course. And to that, I'm going to add chili powder, salt, turmeric, and garam masala. Need a spoonful of minced ginger and a spoonful of minced garlic. And I'll just get in there with a spoon and we'll mix that together. I should probably also just be calling this segment What's on Sale Today, because chicken thighs were on sale. So I took the skin off and deboned them. Put the skin and the bones in a container in the freezer for making stock later. Save all of that stuff and make your own stock. I'm going to add that to the marinade, and I've got some Roma tomatoes that I've chopped up. I'm going to put those in there as well. I'm going to mix this together, get it all coated, and then set it aside. You want this to marinate for about a half an hour or so. Okay, I'll just set that aside for now. Okay, the chicken's been in the marinade for about 20 minutes, so we'll move on to the next step. I've got some ghee here, and you want to be generous with your ghee. 2-3 tablespoons worth. I'm going to heat it in the bottom of this pot. Okay, once the fat is hot, I'm going to put in some cloves, cardamom, some peppercorns. This is an Indian bay leaf. It's slightly different shape and size. That goes in. And 3 hot chilies. It'll sputter and spit, and it doesn't take long until the fragrance comes out. And then you want to put in some onion. So I've got sliced red onion. Put that in. And we want to fry that onion down until it gets nice and golden around the edges. I would say the onions are about 90% done. So I'm going to add in some potato. The first time I had potato in this dish, I was pretty surprised. And then I ate it with the dish, and I thought I shouldn't be surprised because it's amazing in this dish. So just a yellow potato. Cubed it up so that it cooks fairly quickly. It'll partially break down by the end of the cooking. So we're just going to stir that in and start it cooking now with the onions before we add the chicken. Now it's time to add the chicken. Just going to throw it right in the pot. Stir it in, and we'll start cooking it. And you want to put the marinade and everything in all at once. Okay, so I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit, and we're going to stir this in to get it cooking. Now, this is where you come to a bit of decision time. Based on how much you cook the onions, based on how juicy your tomatoes are, you may need to add a little bit of water. Kind of have to look at this and see, is it too dry? Do you think it's too dry? Do you think you need to add a bit of water? And I think I need to add probably about a half a cup of water. So I'm going to put that in now. Stir it in. I'm going to put the lid on. I'm going to put this on sort of medium-low heat and cook it for about a half an hour. Okay, the chicken is pretty much done. At this point, I'm going to take the lid off, and we're going to let this continue to simmer and thicken up the gravy. So we'll give that a bit of a stir. It's looking really good. Smells incredible. And we'll move on to making the rice. Now, obviously, using basmati rice, I've got it here in a little bit of a colander. I rinsed it several times until the water ran clear, and then I put it in this bowl with water and let it soak for an hour. That's something that Indian chefs told me over and over and over again. Soak it for at least half an hour, but if you can do it for an hour, you're much better off. So I'll put some ghee in the bottom of this pan that we're going to cook the rice in. Okay, while the ghee heats up and melts here, here is the one spice that I figure probably most people in North America aren't going to have in their cupboard, and it's this. It's called black cardamom. It is a different kind of cardamom. We're also going to put green cardamom in, which everybody would be familiar with. This is amazing. It has a really sort of deep, earthy, smoky smell. Adds a lot to the rice. If you can't find it, though, don't go crazy. Don't obsess about it. Don't worry about it. There's really no substitution for it. If you can't get it, just move on. Don't use it. Oil's hot. Let's toast our spices. So in goes green cardamom, the black cardamom, some peppercorns, some cumin, salt, a little piece of cinnamon, and some cloves. Oh, don't forget the bay leaf. And we'll just toast those. Doesn't take long. And don't have it so hot that you burn everything. You just kind of want to toast them. Now, to that, a lot of water. Everything that you've ever learned about cooking rice and the perfect rice ratio, out the window. That was 2 liters of water. I'm going to bring this up to a boil. Okay, the water is boiling, so in goes the rice. And we'll give that a stir just so it doesn't clump. And I'm going to bring that back up to a boil, which shouldn't take long on this cooktop. As soon as it's back up to a boil, which it is right now, I'm going to start a 5-minute timer, and then I'll check and see if it's cooked. Okay, hasn't quite been 5 minutes yet, but it's cooked. I'm going to say it's cooked. So we only want to cook it about 90% of the way, because it's going to cook the rest of the way on top of the chicken. Now, obviously, we've got rice swimming in water here. So the next step is to bring it over here to the sink and strain it through a colander. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the bay leaf. I don't need that now. This is where I'm going to go kind of sideways a little bit. You don't need to use chicken. You could use any meat in here. And you could use all vegetables in here and no meat. Make it completely vegetarian. This is great with chickpeas and cauliflower and other vegetables, carrots, and that sort of thing. I really like cauliflower. It was cheap at the grocery store this morning, so I'm going to put a layer of cauliflower on top of the chicken. This is just raw cauliflower. I've cut up the florets, and it will cook. Oh, there's a timer. What else have I got on the go? The cauliflower is going to cook in the time that it takes to finish this dish. So, nice layer of cauliflower. Peas. Peas would be great in here. Next in is the rice. And so here we go, a layer of rice over the top. I'm going to pull out that big piece of black cardamom. And don't press the rice down, just sort of fluff it around the edges there. Okay, so I'm going to put the lid on at this point. I've got the temperature down on low, and I'm just going to continue cooking that for 10-15 minutes or so. And there we go. So take the lid off, and we'll scoop this out.
Hey, Glenn. Hey, friends. That looks pretty good.
So it's a beginner biryani.
A potato biryani?
No, a beginner biryani.
Oh, beginner biryani. Okay.
Beginner biryani. So a little bit of cilantro on top, and maybe some mint leaves on top too. Oh, the cilantro immediately smells great. And the great thing about this is that even though this was ready an hour ago,
Because I'm late getting home.
because Julie's late getting home, with the lid on and the power off, it'll keep just fine for like an hour, hour and a half.
That does smell really good.
Yeah, doesn't it? Okay. There's naan in the oven.
Can I do it?
So
Yes, I can. It's not as hot as
I think we
thought.
just eat out of the serving bowl. Try to make a nice service.
I'm going to go, all old school and scoop some out if I can.
Oh, I love that.
That'd be good. It's all done in one pot?
Well, I boiled the rice in a separate pot and then just added it on top.
Okay.
Not a big deal. Oh. Okay, so these
It's quite good.
little Thai green chilies, they really get me.
Those ones are really hot, are they?
Yeah. Now,
Oh, that's a big chunk.
I joke this is beginner biryani because we didn't make all the nice layers in the big pan and put it in the oven to cook it. We did it all on the stove top. We did a layer of the chicken and gravy underneath and a layer of rice on top. Very simple to take it to that next step. I was tempted to throw some peas on top because I like peas on top. I really do like peas on top, but you could put chickpeas in there, and you could do it with any meat that you want. Don't be afraid to do this. There are a lot of spices, and there were some steps along the way, but it really wasn't that difficult and really not that time consuming.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it a lot.
So thanks for stopping by. See you again soon.
Do we need a shaking shot?
No,
You just keep eating?
Yep.
That's really good.